look, he's been huge for us. He's been outstanding for us as long as I've been here, and the year before I came, I know he had a very good season as well. So he's probably the 10 that suits us.
No, definitely me and Zach are huge wrestling fans. Like just the style you said about the philosophy, the way they play the game is just kind of for the fans, and obviously results show that. I guess kind of the classic question, I know of any podcast and all, you can't probably get away from it. The main man, Finn Russell, what is he really like then in terms of kind of your relationship with him, kind of how he wants to play the game? Do you get on quite well, Finn?
Yeah, I get on very well with Finn. We'd have a quite similar, I suppose, philosophy, which is a very positive thing, especially when he's one of your number 10s, and I suppose he's been a 10 that started, obviously most regular over here. And yeah, just from day one, we sat down, we spoke, and we'd see a lot of the kind of similar things on the pitch, and the way we want to play, and the way we want to set up. And yeah, he's a brilliant guy to work with. He's great fun to work with as well, which is important, because it's a long season here, and you need to enjoy it also as well. But he's got a great outlook. He's a guy that, he does a lot of work behind the scenes in terms of his video analysis and stuff, but he doesn't go screaming from the rooftops. He's very subtle about, just 3 or 4 little points he'll speak about. He's got good French as well, so which helps an awful lot to I suppose, from a communication point of view, and even building his relationships with the players and stuff. And he's a very, very popular guy here. And look, he's been huge for us. He's been outstanding for us as long as I've been here, and the year before I came, I know he had a very good season as well. So he's probably the 10 that suits us. And his relationship, as I said, with some of our outside backs like Jeremy Vakatawa and Kirtley Beale and Hilfiku and Wanimoff, and these guys he's they get him and he gets them, if that makes sense. So which helps an awful lot. And look, as I say, Finn sometimes looks like a guy that's wrapped up in a Saturday, but he's a guy that puts a lot of work in behind, and especially a lot of work from a point of view of analysis on his video. And as I always alluded to, we people think he rocks up and is it all off the cuff. There's a system there, and I would be the type of coach that would encourage, I suppose, players to express themselves within that system, or as I call it, framework. And It's something, I suppose, that probably suits Finn as well. So there is he knows what options he has, and there is, as I said, there is freedom in that, and we'll encourage it, and and that's where, for me as well, we're a skills coach. We've a skills coach here as well, full time, and we're constantly trying to, I suppose, obviously the best decision, but having good skills helps that within a framework.
It's really interesting that you talk about frameworks, because I guess some of the critics of perhaps Finn Russell and his style, for example, people who wanted Dan Biggar to start in the Lions tour would say Dan Biggar he plays the system. He's very safe. He's not going to throw a loopy pass in his own 22, which could be intercepted. So we're going to go with Dan Biggar. Whereas Finn Russell, he could throw a loopy pass in 22, it'll be intercepted and whatnot. Like, do you try to curtail him, or to try to keep him? Do you feel like it's what am I trying to say here? Is it easier, or with Finn, is it more keeping him within the framework? Or
not really.
How do you
I think if you do that, you take a lot away from his game. So as I always say, I'm not going to be a coach that's going to, I suppose, stand up in a video and Finn threw one of those passes that he threw against England a couple of years ago. He threw one last year against against Stade Francais, threw one, and the whole world is talking about it. When he threw against England, the whole world is talking about it. Against Exeter, it was actually something, to be fair, that we'd identified. There was space. It was probably thrown from a bit further out, when we look back in it. But as I said, I think if you take that stuff away from Finn, obviously you can look at certain aspects, and we would sit down, and he's very open to that, and we'll have a conversation about it. But in general, he's a player that you don't want to take too much away from him because that's what he's good at.
Yeah.
So as I said, I'm not going to be a coach that's going to stand up there and when the pass goes in or it doesn't, you're going to stand up and you're going to clap and say bravo, and the next clip you show and it doesn't go to hand, you have a cut off. It's not my, I suppose, way of coaching. It's more about look, a lot of it would be one-on-one stuff, but I don't want to take anything away from what he does. I suppose is what it's more about building on top of what he's good at, and from a decision point of view, if there is one or two little bits that we do feel, just encouraging that and saying, look, what about maybe we'll have a look at it, at potentially doing it this way. And we generally find happy medium ground or whatever. But look, we've both quite similar ways of looking at the game, and when you have that, and then from a personal point of view, Finn is a great fella to work with, and he's a brilliant talent.
Yeah, actually, you kind of just answered the question that was in my head, which I couldn't verbalize, which is kind of how do you manage Finn Russell? How do you do it? So,
yeah.
That's a really fascinating insight. It really, really is. And suppose in general,
and you know what? That's Finn. But that's Finn, one player. You talk about someone like Virmi Vakatawa. You don't want to take the strengths away from them. That's their strengths, So one pass. I know. Look, every pass, 10 out of 10 passes or 10 decisions aren't always going to be right, But you look at Finn, and as I said, majority of his decision making, of his passing, of his short kicks are generally on the money. It's probably when it doesn't come off, that's when everyone jumps on, and that's kind of. I suppose that's the thing that I wouldn't be part of. I wouldn't jump on that. I would more look at it and say, right, what are we looking at here? What do you think? And potentially the next time it might be done a small bit of a different way, But it's not just Finn. It's as I alluded to, a couple of players, they've got special talents, and once you have a framework, leave them express themselves in that framework. That's just my philosophy of the word of coaching.
That's fantastic. It really is. So even you want players to express themselves, play to their strengths within the framework, to summarize. But I've got the squad list up here for Racing in the back line. You have Finn Russell, you have Fakatawa, you have Teddy Thomas, you have Curtly Bale. Big personalities, incredibly skillful players. I guess how do you manage just so many kind of big personalities kind of in that back line, if that makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a question again. A lot of people would ask you, but they're genuinely easy guys to deal with. I just think once you're consistent and once you're honest with them, they'll be like that with you, And again, building up those individual, I suppose, relationships is something that will be a big part of my coaching philosophy. Getting to know the players and how they work and how to react to situations. Is it better show one or two of the boys something collectively in front of everybody, or show it one-on-one, or potentially, which I'd often do, is show one-on-one stuff and then explain it to the group or whatever it may be. But those boys, as you said, maybe big personalities, they just want to be coached. They want detail. They want, as I said, they want a framework that'll make the game easier for them. And it's within that, it's the ingredients within that, I suppose, that separates the good players and the good teams to the others. So, but from a management point of view and dealing with them, they're great fun to work with as well. They're all very tight. There's a very good atmosphere here. I suppose, look, the biggest thing, just what we want is we want to win something, and that's they won the league Racing won the league in 2016. We've lost 3 Heineken or Champions Cups there in the last 5 years, so including one last year. So they haven't been far away. Semi-final last year, we haven't been far away, but far away isn't good enough for a club like this, and that's probably the one thing that is really driving the boys. We want to win silverware, and I know everybody does, absolutely, but when you're that close, it kind of drives you more and more. And as I said, those boys they're a pleasure to deal with. And you know what, I'd be the type of coach that'd be quite open. So I like them to give input, and if they've any ways of looking at things or philosophies or ideas or strike plays or whatever, I'll always listen to them as well. And I think that's important as well to build that trust and that And that sharing, I suppose, and I think once you work like that, players in general will respond